OPEC, the International Cartel of Oil Producers, has 13 members. And this is an article in Newsweek magazine that discusses the Skull and Bones fraternity at Yale University. It reported that Skull and Bones, a secret fraternity on the campus that we've discussed before, is one of 13 secret societies at Yale. Notice that there were precisely 13 secret societies and at Yale University. In 1977, the Esquire magazine said that the Skull and Bones fraternity had definite links to the Illuminati, and George Bush was a member of Skull and Bones. And there's one more name I want to bring to your attention as also being a member of Skull and Bones, and that's William F. Buckley, the so-called conservative. It is interesting to note that Mr. Buckley constantly mocks those who believe in the conspiratorial view of history, as he does in this article in our November 27, 1992 Tucson Citizen evening paper, Conspiracy Theories Seem to Have 9 Lives. He says in this article that Lee Harvey Oswald was the one who fired the fatal shot. In my video entitled The Kennedy Assassination, I prove, notice, I prove by using photographic evidence that Oswald did not fire any bullets that day, fatal or otherwise. You can answer the question yourself as to why Mr. Buckley continues to repeat a lie. I would like to continue my study of the number 13. The witch who wrote the book entitled An ABC of Witchcraft said that 13 is the witch's number. Notice, I didn't say that, the witch said it. 13 is the witch's number. And she went on to say, from its association with witchcraft, the number 13 came to be called the devil's dozen. But perhaps the most salient statement of all was made by Stan Deyo, who is a writer in opposition to this conspiracy. He wrote this: 13 is the value assigned to Satan. And from all the evidence that I have shown you to this point, I would say that he appears to be correct. But there is one more possible explanation for the number 13 being so mysterious. Manly P. Hall writes about there being 12 great religions. These would be the visible ones like Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, etc. The 13th religion, the concealed one, and inside all the other 12, would be the ancient mystery religion, the secret religion, the one dedicated to Lucifer. This might be the best explanation of them all. But the most incriminating connection of the number 13 with evil is when you identify someone with 13 letters in their name. This is a certain sign that that person is totally corrupt, depraved, wicked, and immoral. They are completely devoid of morality. They are totally degenerate, lacking any redeeming value, and are total liars. I did that to make a point, because my name, Ralph Epperson, does indeed have 13 letters in it. But one day when I was giving this lecture in Tampa, Florida, someone pointed out to me that my name consisted of 13 letters, and I got totally embarrassed. But notice that I had no say in that decision made by my parents. They were the ones who chose my name for me, whether or not it had 13 letters. These Masons had a choice, and they consistently chose 13. They had to know what it meant. They acknowledged it, as we've shown you, as a symbolic number, and that is why it is all around us in a concealed form. Now, this would be my guess as to why the number 13 is so important to the Masons and others. 7 is the number of completion or perfection, and 6 is the number of man. If you add the two together, you get completed man or perfected man. And I think that the number is the concealed number, showing that man can become perfect or complete through the ancient mystery religion or Lucifer worship. But that is just my guess. I've never read that anywhere. However, I did find a similar thought in a little book entitled Symbolism of the 3 Degrees by Oliver Day Street, a member of the Masonic Lodge. As I said before, this is official Masonic information because the Lodge book, or rather the book, was presented by the Grand Lodge of the Masonic Order in New Jersey. This is what he says on page 23 in a section entitled Science of Numbers. The soul was made to correspond to the number 6, and 7 was the counterpart of reason and health. The author does not say it, but if you add the two numbers together, you get 13, or a soul improved by reason. Another way of saying this would be to say that 13 is the number of the illuminated soul. However, I do know that there are people on this earth who believe that the illuminated man, the man with superior ability to reason for himself, has evolved farther than the normal man. Man is called Homo sapiens man by those who believe in evolution. Homo sapiens. There are those, however, who believe that they are Homo noeticus man, being a higher form of man, evolved because of his use of reason. One becomes illuminated because he evolves higher than other men when he uses his brain, his power to reason. Now I'd like to return to my discussion of the Masonic involvement in the founding of this nation. There is one more significant insight into why the Founding Fathers chose the date of July the 4th to declare their independence from Great Britain. The old Julian calendar was changed in 1582 by an order of Pope Gregory XIII. This was because the old calendar was 11 days behind the sun. In other words, the old calendar was not accurate in relationship to the actual solar year, and the astronomers were having difficulty in calculating the length of the solar year. So in October of 1582, the old June the 23rd became July the 4th. You might remember that June the 23rd was a solar holiday because it was around the rebirth of the sun god. It was one of the days in the June the 22nd through June the 25th rebirth of the sun after it had gone north for the summer. So the Founding Fathers concealed a holiday to the sun god in their choosing of the date of July the 4th to declare this nation's independence. Lastly, it would be interesting to answer the question as to why Americans shoot off fireworks on that day. Notice that Americans do not celebrate any other holiday by shooting off fireworks. Is it possible that it is because the people in ancient Egypt and Babylon lit fires to worship Baal, the sun god, on June the 24th of each year? I think so. I'd like to return now to the reverse side of the seal. Of course, this is the side with the pyramid. Manly P. Hall, the 33rd degree Mason, wrote this: "The pyramid and the all-seeing eye represent the universal house surmounted by the radiant emblem of the great architect of the universe." Notice that Mr. Hall called our attention to two things in that quote. The pyramid was built as a house. That means that the pyramid was not built as a tomb. It was built as a house for some god. And secondly, the all-seeing eye was a symbol of the God of the Masons called the great architect of the universe. Let me provide you now with the evidence that the God of the Masons is not the God of the Bible. A quote from Albert Pike in his book entitled Morals and Dogma, amongst others, proves that. The God of the Bible is a creator God. He created the universe out of nothing. That statement is in the first book of the Bible, called the book of Genesis. This is what the Bible says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So the God of the Bible is a creator God because he created something out of nothing. The Masons claim that their God is an architect. They call their God the supreme architect of the universe. Architects do not create, they only plan to build from existing materials. So this God cannot be the same God, or the Masons simply do not understand the English language. They call their God the architect of the universe. And to show you that the Masons know that their God created nothing, let me read you this quote taken from page 254 of Albert Pike's book entitled Morals and Dogma. Mr. Pike says this: Amun, by the way, Amun was the god of Lower Egypt, was the sun god. He created nothing. This is another proof that the great God, the great architect of the universe, the Masonic God, is not the God of the Bible. This is Coyle's Masonic Encyclopedia, written by a 33rd degree Mason named Henry Wilson Coyle. Mr. Coyle's encyclopedia was published by McCoy Publishing and Masonic Supply Company in New York, a major publisher of Masonic literature. On page 494 of his book, Mr. Coyle lists the qualifications a male must possess to become a member of the Masonic Lodge. The words under religious qualifications say, quote, belief in God, or TGAOTU. So a prospective Mason can believe in the God of the Bible or the Masonic God called the Great Architect of the Universe. The letters that he shows, TGAOTU. So this is an admission by 33rd degree Mason Henry Wilson Coyle that this great architect is the God and that he is not the God of the Bible. In other words, you can believe in either of those two gods. Notice that I found this in their own literature. It is not my thought. It is from one of the great Masons of all time, a 33rd degree Mason, one who knows who the great architect is. The Mason can believe in any God, including the God of the Bible or the great architect of the universe. So the Masons who worship the sun God, in their lodges know that their God is not the God of the Bible, and someone else confirmed this. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky said this on page Roman numeral 29 in her book entitled Isis Unveiled. Demiurge. I'm sorry, I went too far there. If I got that right? Yeah, here we go. She wrote, the supernal, meaning heavenly, power built the universe. Freemasons derive from this word their phrase supreme architect. Notice that she did not say that this God created the universe. The God of the Bible made something from nothing. The Freemasons are claiming that their God built the universe. A God that built the universe had to take existing materials to build it. An architect, like the builder, builds from existing materials. The Masonic God did not create the universe from nothing. He took or will take existing materials to build the universe. The God of the Masons is not the creator God, the one who made a universe out of nothing. And I would now like to provide you with the final truth that the God worshipped in the Masonic temple is definitely not the creator God of the universe. Once again, this is Albert Pike, the #1 Mason of all time. And he wrote a book entitled Agenda in 1888, just 3 years before he died. Pike says in his book, quote, Pike says, forgive me, that this book contains a series of monographs intended to supplement the ritualistic instruction. So this book is intended to assist the Mason understand just what the symbols of the initiation ceremony mean. He says in his comments on the 26th degree inside the Masonic Lodge, there are other things that you shouldn't hear said now, and without which you will not be fully in possession of this degree.